Her name is Thabiso Mahlape. And, I was very, very arrogant about it. And I said, look, I'm about to send you your next big title. And she just laughed at me. And a couple of years later, we have a book published. But, she has the ability to publish. She's had the ability to publish a number of autobiographies. She's published Bonnie Hanna, she's published Really Vlabi, and she now has a book that is coming up with one of Nelson Mandela's granddaughters. Let us introduce from Jacana, Thabiso Mahlape. Good morning.
Hello, McIntosh.
Good.
How are you?
I'm cool. How are you?
Alright, this is just weird, you interviewing me and stuff.
I know. You being my publisher, and this is very weird for me. But let's talk about this issue of autobiographies. I remember, when I, in 2010, quit my work to focus on writing my book, it's a very, very lonely environment. And when friends of mine asked me to say, what are you doing with your life? And I said, look, I'm writing an autobiography. All I got was ha, ha, ha. And a very, very long lecture. And one of my friends said, listen, dude, Nelson Mandela was 70-something when Long Walk to Freedom was published. I think you need to park your book, wait until your age and you become a fossil, and then you can publish a book. So at what age can you publish an autobiography? Should you wait for age?
I think there's been a general misconception that you need to be old and you need to have done so many things for you to publish an autobiography. But in fact, a book that's autobiographical in nature does not need to be one's entire life. It can be about one aspect about your life that you want to talk about.
Right.
So you can publish an autobiographical book at any age in your life, for as long as you've got a powerful and a sincere story to tell.
And the books that you've published, how do you decide, when you get there? Does age ever play a role? Do you ever ask, but how old are you? And I was like 34 when I approached you.
I've never had to ask an age. I mean, the story needs to talk to me.
Yeah, and what other aspects do you look at?
I look for a compelling story. First, it has to be compelling, and the other thing, the most important thing that it does is that in telling your story, it needs to be telling the story of many other people that are unable to write and have no platform to write.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing for me about these books is that they need to have some sort of human element, like an element of healing and a bigger story than the person.
There's a saying in the writing environment that every one of us has a story to tell, and that the difference between the story to tell and the story that is published is just that. If you have a story to tell and you don't publish it, it's not there. I mean, if you have a story to tell and you do publish it, it makes a hell of a difference. And that's what I found out. So I want to ask you, where do people start? I mean, we all have stories to tell, and some compelling and some rubbish. But for those who have compelling stories, where do they start with writing an autobiography?
I think one of the most important things about a story that needs to be told, about a story that's going to be told, is that you don't have to search for it within you. You wake up in the morning and it says, hey, remember me, I'm still here waiting to be told. And I think the second thing you do is you sit down and you write it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just sit down and write. And I get that question a lot, but so how do I go about writing a book? You just sit down and you write it.
I almost had to teach myself to write. I was a journalist, and my background was in television and radio. And as you know, in radio you don't write much, and in television you're guided by the pictures. I almost had to teach myself to write. And so, do people at all need to be taught to write, or should they just get on with it and just write?
I think put your story down. First of all, put your story down and let someone guide you.
All right.
Let someone guide you. Sometimes you may be referred to a writing coach or writing school with your story, and they help you develop it. Or it could be that it's not in the best possible shape, but working with an editor can get it up to a point where it is acceptable. And I mean, almost every book that you get, in fact, not almost, but every single book that you see on the bookshelf has gone through a lot of editing to get it to a point where it's a book.
So when a person comes through and you realize that there's a potential for a story here, and what is lacking is the writing style and the narration, and this person needs to be encouraged. Do you at all sit down with this person and say, look, you think there's a story here, but you need to do A, B, and C, or do you just say, look, you know, this is rubbish and we're not going to take it? Do you at all reflect on whether there's a story there, even though it's not, you know, brilliantly done?
Of course. I mean, many times, and some of the people that I have published, I've had to put through writing schools. Some I've taught myself, and I'm not even a writer, but there's something, because I know what I'm looking for, I can say I need you to develop this here, and I need to develop this there. And then there are some people that just cannot write. You know, that they just cannot write, and it doesn't matter how big and beautiful the story is. At some point, you just have to let it go because it can't be selfish.
And in my case, tell the listener that I was actually a very good writer and that you didn't have to do much, right?
So you're asking me to lie on national radio? Is that what you're doing? You're asking me to lie. Okay, it's fine. I'll lie for you. McIntosh submitted the most beautifully written book, and I just took it straight to printing.
All right, thank you so much. You can join in this conversation and call us on 0861 987 000. You can SMS 44622, or you can tweet us at PowerFM987, or you can tweet us at Polela, and that's my Twitter handle. And Mahlape has just done that on Twitter, and she says, can't tell if Polela's accent is pseudo-American stroke British. Why? Ha, ha, ha. Okay, thanks, Mahlape. Let's check if we have callers. Not for now, but yeah, we welcome your call. We're waiting for them. We're just waiting for you to call us and tell us if you have the ambition of writing an autobiography. Do you think you have a story to tell? Do you think you have a very, very, very compelling story to tell? Thabiso Mahlape is here to assist you.
But you must get my surname right then.
Thabiso Mahlape is here.
Okay, that's better.
That's better. Is here to assist you and tell you exactly what you need to do. Because I know that there are a lot of young people in South Africa who say, I want to write a book, but I don't know where to start. The worker from Queenswood says, I just published, but it was a difficult, I suppose that was a difficult process. So what we're talking about?
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying, McIntosh, I just about 2 weeks ago published a book titled In My Lifetime, Two Worlds Apart. You know, when I actually started with the book, it was just I was disgusted by this, this crime, this heinous crime that is happening, specifically rape, you know. And I decided not to write something about it. That was in 2010, I think, yeah. And I tried, to find out how can I get the book published, because I already had the manuscript.
Right.
But, several of the, publishing companies, didn't, like the story. But ultimately, something funny happened. I just entered a competition for, to be writer.
Right.
And that's where, that was with the Penguin Publishing.
And do you go public?
Actually, no. I was actually one of the shortlisted 7 candidates on the non-fiction category. And that's where actually we were encouraged to say, all of you who are here, you guys have got something there. I didn't know actually how to go about writing. So I think maybe the publishers got bored about my style of writing. But then what I did was I then decided, to sort of like learn more about writing.
Right.
So and then I started with this institution in the UK for about 6 months. Then the same book, I didn't change much. I just changed things there and there. Voila, the next thing, some of the publishers actually were interested.
Oh, wow,
and then finally the book it is out now.
Congratulations, Thabiso. We look forward to reading your book, and thank you very much. Do you want to write a book? Do you want to write an autobiography? Thabiso seems to say that you don't have to be old and a fossil to write a book. It could be anyone. I think that Millie from Randburg wants to do that. She says, I was at the launch of your book and it resonated with me so much. Millie, are you going to write your own book? Millie?
Hello?
Hi, Millie.
Hey, McIntosh.
Hello, ma'am.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm just really much into lady who you never invited to the launch, huh?
Oh.
Yeah. I was at a good lunch at a group of books I wrote down.
Thank you so much.
And I listened to you telling the story. And I'm on speakerphone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was saying that it resonated with a painful place so deep inside of me, and I guess that's why I have not been able to read it.
So you haven't read the book? Yes.
Sharing your story, but basically, the epiphany for me is that it will inspire me to write my own story once I'm able to read the book eventually, when I'm able to sort of shed the amount of emotion that your verbal story and your orating the story evokes in me at exclusive in those things.
All right. Thank you so much, Lee from Randbeek. Thabiso, tell her it's not so bad.
Yeah, no, it will delight her, Shane. You know, it's one of those books that, you know, it will make you read, but at the end you're quite glad you read it. It's fine. And I just want to say, when Deborah said that he went through all these things and finally now he's published, sometimes it takes that. Sometimes you have to be seen to be investing in your own craft for people to sit up and take notice. And just because you're not published doesn't make your story less significant. You know, it's still your truth and what you went through.
How does someone from the township, say Hello from Soweto or Sipho from Kwamashu, who has done matric, who has a great story to tell, but obviously doesn't have the ability to write? Do you accept stories that are ghost written, for instance? Does it ever happen?
Of course we are.
Do you encourage that at all?
Yes, we do. I mean, obviously it will be if the problem is a household of Kwamashu who doesn't have any funds, but usually the person that wants to tell the story would pay the ghostwriter.
Right.
So it's not a cost that the publishers incur. I mean, it can be worked out in some cases that the publishers will say, listen, we'll pay for this upfront, and then we can take it back from your royalties in the end, or it can always be worked out. It just always depends on what publisher you're talking to and how much they believe in that story and how much they want to publish it. So you have to make it that damn good for them to want to invest in it in that way.
I'll tell you what happened to me when I was writing the book. Is that I doubted myself whether I was going to ever find a publisher until such time that I had done 6 drafts of the book. And I doubted myself so much that I parked the book for 4 months. Because when you approach people, one of the people said to me, park your book for 10 years. It's never going to work. And it's always a problem that when you enter into this space of writing, you don't have the information. So I'd like for you to tell us, what is the process? Say I've had the guts, the audacity to write the book. What is my next step? What happens if I approach you? Do you make me pay? Take me through that process.
Okay, the first thing that a person must do when you approach me as a publisher, and this makes me very mad, is if you approach me and you haven't taken the time to know what I'm about as a publisher. So that's the first thing. Let's do your research. If you're writing a Christian book, then you know you don't bring it to Jacana Media because we don't do Christian books, you know? So you do your research, you know who's who, you know whose list is best suited to the kind of work that you've written, and then you approach them.
Oh, cool.
You go on their website. Most publishers have submission guidelines. Don't go submitting your own way. You need to make sure that what you're doing is suited to that publisher that you're approaching.
All right. My name is McIntosh, Polela, and you're on Power Talk on Power 98.7 FM. And we're talking to Thabiso Mahlape, who's from Jacana Publishers. And we're trying to help you to publish your autobiography. We know that you're young, you have energy, but you also have a story to tell. You have a bestseller in you, but you just don't know what you are going to do. And so she's here to guide you, to say, okay, Vusi or Tembi, this is what you need to do. I have people on Twitter that have Taboho, also Taboho says, also Josh Polela doing well on Power FM. Now if you could only stop saying that's unpacked all the time. Okay, I'll stop. Bongi Club says, I think I have a beautiful story to tell. However, I find it hard to put pen to paper. I can tell it, but not write it. Sigh. What would you say
You must
to
find another outlet.
What outlet?
We can't all be writers, that's the thing. I mean, we all have stories, we all have beautiful stories, but some people tell their stories through music, some through film, some through books, and if you can't write, then try something else.
But if you can't sing? What if you can't sing?
I then tell your neighbors, I don't know.
I'm Suzana Ngubongi. When I bongi, qhubeke nje uzama ukuthi ubhale. We've got Laminate at Laminate saying publishers must stop thinking that only politicians and celebrities have an interesting story to tell. We
Oh, can I answer that?
Yeah, sure.
What the problem is, the thing is, as publishers, as much as we've got passion for books and we want to put out all these amazing books, publishing is a business at the end of the day. And if when I publish a book by Bonisi with Lamini, no one buys it, but people are willing to go buy a book by Kelly Kumalo or Ukanyimbao or Leon, whoever, it's going to be what we publish. We try very hard. We try very hard to make sure that all significant stories get told in the best way possible, but we also react to the market. So if you, as the market, start buying books by people that are unknown, I promise you we'll start publishing more, and it's what we want to do. So just start reading and start buying books. That's all we ask.
All right. In the autobiographies that you have published, and I can remember 4 at the moment.
Yeah, it's only 4.
Which one have you enjoyed the most? I'm putting you on the spot here. And don't say it's mine because no, I mean I was about to say don't say it's mine because you're talking to me. Just think for a second and reflect on it and tell me which one have you enjoyed the most?
You know, of all 4, and I mean it's the first one was yours. No, I'm lying. The first one was Mending a Broken Heart by Nadia Morale, and then it was yours, and then it was Reedy's, and then it was Bonnie Hannah's, Reedy's, and now Zolega. And I've enjoyed them immensely for different reasons. But the one that will always stand out for me, of course, is yours because it has helped me define myself as a publisher.
Oh.
And kind of in terms of the kind of stories that I want to tell, it made me realize that our people are sitting there and yearning for our own stories to be told, that we need to tell our own stories and stop relying on other people to tell our stories. So that's my aim as a publisher, and it's thanks to my father, my monster.
Oh, that's cool. Cool. And Pasco, I used to do with friends with Pasco, and he dropped out, and I will never forgive him for that. He said, "You're doing a great job on radio. Laughed so hard about the lady telling the nation about her park distance control. Hi, Pasco, we're missing you in French. You should come back." Look, Thabiso, you currently work for Jacana. How is the publishing environment at the moment? Can you make money? Say you, and I hope that your bosses are not listening. If they're listening, they should shut their ears now. Now, are you able to branch out and create your own publishing company? How is the publishing space at the moment?
You know what? It's not the greatest. The market isn't amazing at the moment. People are buying less and less books, and they're buying less of local books. So I wouldn't say it's the best time for someone to venture out independently. But I for one, and I'm not saying this because I'm sucking up, but I work for a very good company that allows me to be who I want to be. And I'm quite happy to be a publisher in this space right now.
Okay, Tabumwe on Twitter says, the lady, meaning you, Thabiso, has just confirmed that it is not about persuasive your story is, how persuasive your story is, but it's about the person who wrote the story. I think it's unfair.
No, you must not put words in my mouth, you see. I mean, for example, when I read your story, I didn't know who you were.
Thank you.
And at that time, you weren't even working for the Hawks then, remember?
Yeah.
You were just a guy that had submitted this. I didn't know who you were. I loved the story, and I said, I'm going to do the story. And with Zolega Mandela's story, the person that connected us told me the story before he told me who it was. And I said, I want to do that story. So it's not always like that.
Tell me about Zolega Mandela's story and book. When is it coming out? And have you enjoyed the process?
It's been such an incredible process. It's been so amazing. And I mean, I learned so much from people's stories, and I think that's what I enjoy. I get to take away so much from people, and I learn so much. And Zolega's book is, I mean, the whole nation knows that she lost her daughter during the World Cup in that car accident.
Yes.
And then she lost a son in the next year. And then a few months after that, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and had to lose both her breasts. And her story is a journey of healing. You know, it's just a woman. Take away the Mandela name, take away her privileges in life, and what you've got is a woman in pain and how she overcomes it. And that's the story we're trying to tell, and hopefully touch other people that have been through the same kind of pain and loss.
When I'm young, we're still wet behind my ears, as the saying goes. Why should people be interested in my autobiography? What interests you?
like I said, it has to be a universal story.
All right. I've got Lenny Simon on Twitter who say, how does technology, iPads and e-readers affect the production and publishing of books? Have you been at all affected by technology? Or has
Not here, no, not in South Africa. I mean, the US and the UK have seen a dip in their print sales because of technology. But in Africa, it will take a while to catch up because, first of all, we still live in a country where some people don't have access to water and electricity, so that the whole nation is going to be reading on iPads and Kindles is a bit unrealistic at the moment. So we are, in this country, print is still growing. It hasn't declined.
Shouldn't technology enhance the way you make money, the way you publish, instead of providing a negative, for instance? I don't understand that, because I'm thinking here that your production costs will be less if you produce more
Of course,
ebooks.
then you have no print costs. Yes.
Yes, and so the US has it not just adapted to the new way of reading, which is iPads and e-readers, and are they not making more money? And who is suffering? Is it the printers? Is it the publishers? I'm just trying to understand that.
It's both printers and publishers, because I mean it means your entire business model has to adapt to that, and I don't think it happens overnight.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and does it take away any money from you as opposed to bringing in more money? That sort of adaptation?
No, it doesn't. I mean, we publish at the moment in the country, when we bring out a physical book, there's going to be an e-version for it. But still, if, like, for example, your book has sold just close to 11,000 now, and we've sold perhaps about 1,000 e-books.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's just about the situation in South Africa. The e-books have not sort of taken flight as much as.
No, they haven't. They're coming, but they haven't overtaken the print.
All right. Listen,
Yeah.
Thabiso, thank you ever so much for coming through.
Bonga mina Sithandwa.
Nami ngiyabonga.
Okay.
Vero Kara is here to interrupt me, and she's coming to do the